All right, let's get right into it. When I say agriculture career, what's the first thing that pops into your head? Is it, tractors, overalls, long days in the sun? Well, if it is, you're about to have your mind blown. We're going to pull back the curtain on modern agriculture and look at some seriously high-paying, super important jobs that, well, you've probably never even considered. And yeah, that quote right there, that sums it up perfectly. It's this old, stubborn idea of back-breaking work for peanuts. But honestly, that picture is its ancient history. Today's agriculture is all about high tech, it's about data, it's about science, and some pretty wild innovation. And you better believe the job opportunities have changed right along with it. Okay, look at this number. $145,000, $184 per year? No, that is not a typo. That's the actual annual salary for the top job we're going to look at today. And if that number makes you do a double take, hey, you're not alone. It just completely blows up that old stereotype, right? It forces you to think about this whole industry in a completely new way. So the big question is, how do you land a career that pays like that? Well, it turns out there's not just one way to get there. In the world of modern agriculture, there are really two main paths you can take to find success. They're pretty different, each with its own perks and challenges, and we're going to break them both down. So here they are, our two paths. First up, you've got what we're calling the high-demand trail. Think of these jobs as being a bit more accessible, really hands-on, and with amazing job security, because, well, they're just that important. Then on the other side, you've got the high-salary summit. Now, these are the big ones. They need more specialized education, for sure, but they're the ones that get you to the absolute peak of the pay scale. So let's start by walking the high-demand trail. Okay, the high-demand trail. What's awesome about these jobs is that they're often easier to get into, and you can see the results of your work almost immediately. I mean, you're making a real, tangible impact on the environment and on our communities. And the best part? There are a ton of openings for these roles right now. First up on our trail is the forester. The salary comes in at around $48,380 a year. It's a fantastic way to get your foot in the door of this industry. And look, while the pay isn't hitting that six-figure summit we talked about, the work they do is, it's absolutely essential for the health of our entire planet. So what does a forester actually do? Well, have you ever wondered who's out there, actually managing our forests? That's them. Foresters are basically the guardians of our natural lands. They're managing whole ecosystems, keeping an eye on wildlife habitats, protecting farmland, and yeah, they're often on the front lines helping to suppress wildfires. It's all about conservation and protection. All right, let's keep moving down the trail to another super critical role, the water treatment specialist. We're looking at an annual salary of about $53,916 here. And this is one of those jobs that impacts every single one of us every single day, even if we don't think about it. Think about it. You turn on the faucet and clean water comes out. You probably don't even give it a second thought, right? Well, you can thank a water treatment specialist for that peace of mind. These are the pros who manage the whole shebang, from these massive purification plants all the way to the pipes that bring it to your house. They're the ones guaranteeing our water is safe to drink. That's a huge, huge responsibility. Okay, so we've walked the trail. Now it's time to start climbing. Let's head up to the high salary summit. These are the jobs that'll probably require more school, more specialization, but the payoff? We're talking big financial rewards and a real chance to shape the future of science and medicine in this field. And our first stop near the top is the Natural Sciences Manager. Check out that salary, $129,100 a year. Now, this is a big shift from the trail. You're not so much in the field anymore. This is a high-level leadership job. You're the one calling the shots, kind of like an orchestra conductor for scientists. So as a natural sciences manager, you're basically the director of the whole scientific operation. You're not the one at the lab bench with the test tubes. Instead, you're leading the teams of scientists, the chemists, the biologists, you name it. Your whole job is to coordinate all their different projects, make sure the quality control's on point, and just keep that groundbreaking research moving forward. Next up on the summit, the Clinical Research Coordinator. The pay is right up there too, about $129 grand. And this is where things get really intense. We're talking high-stakes work because this is where agriculture, medicine, and actual human trials all come together. This job is all about the human side of the science. These coordinators are the ones running the clinical trials. They're collecting and managing all the critical data, but maybe most importantly, they're the main point of contact for the people in the study. They make sure participants get what's going on and that every single rule for consent and care is followed to the letter. And now, we have reached the very top of the summit, the biostatistician. This is that number we saw at the beginning, $145,184 a year, the highest paying job on our list. So why does it command that kind of salary? Because these are the people using data to solve some of the biggest, most important puzzles in public health. The best way to think about a biostatistician, they're like a data detective for biology and medicine. Seriously, they're the ones who dig into the numbers from a clinical trial to figure out, is this new drug actually safe and effective? Or they'll look at patient data to try and predict how a disease is going to spread. Their work is absolutely crucial. Like, we wouldn't have most modern medical advancements without them. Okay, so we've explored both paths, the hands-on trail and the specialized summit. But what does it look like when you put them head to head? Let's do a direct comparison and see how they really stack up. And wow, when you just look at the raw numbers, the difference it's huge. The average salary for those high-demand jobs we saw is sitting around $51,000. But for the high salary roles, that average jumps to about $134,000. That is a massive gap, and it really gets to the heart of the choice you'd have to make. This table kind of breaks it down even further. You see the high-demand trail on one side, focused on accessibility, fieldwork, and conservation, and on the other, the high-salary summit, all about specialization, data analysis, and working in a lab or an office. So you can see the choice really comes down to what you're looking for, what you truly value in a career. So which path makes more sense for you? It's a pretty clear trade-off, isn't it? Do you see yourself out in the field doing hands-on work with a job that's easier to get into and has great security? Or are you more drawn to the idea of deep, specialized knowledge, working with data, and chasing those top-tier salaries? At the end of the day, the world of modern agriculture is so much bigger and more exciting than most people think. That old stigma is just gone. So whether you're drawn to the trail or you want to climb the summit, the field is wide open and it needs new talent. The only real question is, where will you choose to plant your career?